throwing my life away when I wasted it with someone who treated me like shit. Not when I was with someone who's incarcerated.
Yes, ma'am, because all they want to know is, when is Michael getting executed? Did he get a date yet? How are you handling that?
Hi, everyone, to all the listeners. Thanks for listening.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Love Within Walls, a Prison Wife podcast. I'm your friendly host here, Gigi, and I'm here with...
Your friendly host, Paige. Hope you didn't miss us too much.
Yeah, we had a nice week off. I hope you enjoyed our week off, and hopefully you enjoyed our meme of the week that we posted. But we're here, we're back in action, and we're here for back and better than ever, well rested, ready to go. And we are on episode 7. And this episode, we're going to be talking about prison wives, the prison wife community, prison wife versus prison wife, the good, the bad, and everything in between. But before we start, I'd like to give a shout out to our wonderful sponsor, Beyond Bars Imaging. You can access their website at beyondbarsimaging.com.
The website is having issues right now, but hopefully by the time we have this up, it is fixed. But if not, just find me at Beyond Bars Imaging at Instagram.
Yes, you can always find on Instagram, and it is a great way to merge photos. Also to make your photos not look so prison-y, if you want to call it that. Paige is a genius. She does a great job making pictures look real, or making a special occasion out of your picture, or something for the holidays, whatever you need. So check out beyondbarsimaging.com. And if you have a request, you can send a request through Instagram or on the website if it is working. All right. So we're going to go ahead and dive in. Before we start, though, of course, we got to do that. What up with that? What up with that legislation? All right. So Paige, do you have anything for what up with that legislation?
So it's not with legislation, but I have something to touch upon, which many of our listeners or viewers might already fully be in the know about, especially if they're in our Facebook group. How about that Securus story?
Oh my gosh, that affects us too.
That's crazy. I mean, it's not like everyone who's ever paid into that system didn't know that they were pigs and greedy, but just having the receipts laid out and seeing that they're going to get exposed, it's like you can't help but laugh, honestly.
Yeah, and if you think about it, the article I read said that they made profit of $700 million. And thinking about all of the calls, I probably helped pay a lot of that. And I'm sure a lot of other families, hardworking families trying to make ends meet, paid them, and here they are, not fixing their stuff in the facilities. I know that was a big thing with when I talked to Michael about it this morning. He was saying that they couldn't get people from JPay or Securus, since they merged, to come out and fix kiosks, fix tablets, fix software, all of those, or hardware, whatever it is. They were having issues with getting just people to come out and fix stuff. So I know the warden yesterday talked with Michael, and he said that they're going to probably get out of their contract with Securus at some point. Possibly. That's just, him maybe just being frustrated, but clearly the warden at Angola was very frustrated with JPay and Securus. So this news is big. And from what I understand, there was they owe 1.3 billion. So they obviously did not profit enough. And I guess some terms in their contract that was part of the stipulation. I don't know all the details. Do you know more?
I only know what the article had said. So I think that they're coming out with more. It just sounds like they defaulted on a lot of debt. And honestly, what that says to me is that, those money hungry people that are high up on that chain. Sounds like they went on a lot of vacations and had a lot of fun. But I hope that that all comes around and karma comes back,
Mhm.
and you were being greedy and taking from all of these people who are literally just calling their loved ones, trying to say, I love you while they're
Yeah.
incarcerated. And you're not letting that happen. Um, just similar to what you said at Joe's facility. And I know all similarly at all the other California facilities, they have one laptop person, or I'm sorry, tablet person who comes and I guess she comes usually like once a week, if that. And it's not like she like announces herself. She like will come in and like you have to catch her. Like Joe, the one time when his tablet wasn't charging, he was like trying to get a hold of her, and like she would come in and then leave, and it's like you can't even like you can write her like a whatever those things are
A
called.
ticket, yeah, a
Yeah, and
ticket or something.
but they have a certain amount of time to get back to you, and they also are just like, yeah, I was here on this day, you weren't there. Like it's just crazy. So I hope that more comes out about that, and I will just sit back and watch and enjoy it.
Yeah. And it's interesting. They're probably, from what the article I believe was saying, they're probably going to have to file for bankruptcy. That's what they were saying in the article that was posted about Securus and JPay having major debt.
I'm
So
gonna go
it's also they also, I
tiny
noticed in the
violin.
article. Wait, what
I
happened?
was playing the tiny violin for them.
Oh, okay. I also saw that that some of the blame was for criminal, blaming criminal justice advocates because of the amount. Like, I guess they're not making, some states, have reduced the amount of money per call or per minute.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were blaming, criminal justice advocates for the downfall of Securus. So,
That's like a
yay.
compliment. Like honestly,
Yeah.
thank you. Like
Yay. Thank you, criminal justice advocates. We support you 120%, and thank you for bringing down part of prison enterprise or prison business,
they're
where
private.
industries make
They're
a lot of money off us and our loved ones. So, thank you. Thank you guys for fighting to bring down phone calls, which puts these people out of business. My what up with that legislation is coming out of New York, and big prayers to New York and New Jersey. And I know, Paige, you said you were affected. There was an earthquake today. I believe it was worse, maybe in the New Jersey area. So prayers and thoughts go out to them. But out of New York, there is another criminal justice reform push that is coming, especially dealing with their state budget. So if you were in New York, they're passing a package of bills that make it easier to challenge wrongful convictions and ease financial burdens on incarcerated persons and their families. I don't have the exact bill on me, but I just wanted to put that out there. Please look that up if you are in New York. It looks like um, this is something that's probably looks very hopeful for New York State. So this is something that can be really great for incarcerated individuals and their families, especially for challenging those wrongful convictions, which we've seen out of New York has been pretty big. I know they had the Central Park Five all get completely, their convictions were overturned, and then recently they had a couple other cases, high profile cases in New York, get overturned for wrongful convictions. So this is something that can really help others in that position as well. So kudos to New York State for pushing these criminal justice reform packages to help also with state budgets as well.
they're doing a lot of
So,
really good positive reform in New York. I even just with the parole stuff that they had just passed, it was so cool to watch them all, go to the Capitol and like have their protests and stuff. And I even knew a few people who went there and did it, and it's pretty cool to like see the impact that they're making happen in real time.
yeah, absolutely. And just so y'all know, in your own state, we have something this week, obviously, or next week coming up, on April 9th is the Jim Crow juries, the non-unanimous juries push, at the state capitol as well. So just so in even whether it's in Louisiana, New York, California, get involved, find a group that does criminal justice reform, packages bills, or pushes for legislation, and support them because they do a lot of great work and they are trying to help us and our families. So, and our loved ones. So, yeah. All right. So that's it for What Up With That. What up with that? All right. So, we are going to go ahead and start episode 7, but I know. I always do this. Before we start, Paige, guess what week it is?
Week. Oh,
Yeah.
Can you remind me?
It's Life or Wife week. So if you don't know, I'm going to put you on the 411 here. It is Life or Wife week in our Love Within Walls Facebook group. And this is a week that we celebrate all of our long-term lifer wives or death row wives. We're having a great turnout. The amount of people that are excited about this week. It's just a week to honor the ladies, the queens who do this for the long haul, like ourselves here. And some of us don't have an out date. Some of us have more than 20 years sentence. So this is an opportunity to honor our queens, our loyal queens here. Not that we're not all loyal, because we all are, but the ones that obviously are going to be doing this for a very long time.
Yeah.
So it's a great opportunity to honor them. So if you get a chance, come over to our Facebook, y'all, and check it out, and support our lifer wives who are sharing their stories, sharing their loved ones, sharing ideas, inspirations,
You do have to
things that
have a loved one incarcerated, though, to join the group, though. That's one thing that I wanted to throw out there, even just before you said that, because we've had a lot of really awesome, amazing advocates and stuff who have actually tried to recently join, but the guidelines are you do have to have a loved one incarcerated, just to
Yeah, and I'll say that's just to protect our members, because it is a safe space for our members. It is a place where we can come together and vent, talk about things, and so it's important that we protect our members, and that's why we require that.
Yeah.
So thank you for bringing that up too, because we've had some really awesome people with some awesome support coming in, but unfortunately they don't have a loved one incarcerated, so that is a requirement. So thank you for bringing that up, Paige. All right, let's go, because we've been talking for 13 minutes and we haven't even gotten the pod started. Yeah. Good Lord.
Party.
All right, so we're going to talk about Prison Wife 101, Prison Wife versus Prison Wife, the Prison Wife community, the good, the bad, everything in between. So I always like to start out with the good, because I feel like there are so many positives to the prison wife community, finding your place, finding your people in the prison wife community. I will say it's important to respect other prison wives and their loved ones' sentences. We talked about not just coming out and asking what's the crime, being nosy. It's important to establish rapport with other prison wives. I know we do that. It's a great way to connect, having those Zoom calls that we do at once a month. I will say I had no support out here. So I consider the prison wife community my family. There are several people like Paige and a few of my really good friends that I consider family at this point, just because I've been on this journey for almost not a decade. I won't say a decade, but almost a decade, 8 years. And I've met people along the way from the beginning that I've become very good friends with, best friends with. And so I think the community is a really good community, and it's so supportive when you meet the right people. I will say that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So I think to find your place, I think you need to find, some people start and they don't know where to start. So they start joining all these groups. I know I did that when I first started because I had no support. And so I joined every group imaginable, and I'm probably still in a bunch of them.
I get tired of the
And
notifications. I'm just like,
wait,
I get so many notifications from them, and like even if I'm like ignore for a while, they'll pop back up, and I'm like, oh. So that's the only reason I've joined a bunch, but I've also left a lot more.
yeah, yeah, and sometimes it gets to yeah, I've done the same thing where you turn off the notifications, and I'll say just notify me when something major happens or a friend
Mhm,
posts or something like
mhm.
that. I'll do that. But it's I will say it's a great community to be a part of. I'm proud to be a prison wife. I'm proud that now, when I say that, I don't mean like I'm proud that my husband's in prison, but I'm proud of the community itself.
It's not a
Having
stigma
each of
that out
yeah,
there. It's not at all. And any woman who has been in this or on this journey for the longest time can tell you that. It's not, you know, is that to say that there aren't women that fit that stigma? Absolutely. But that's not the majority of them. And you know what I mean? The only difference about us is that our loved one is incarcerated and yours isn't. Like, that's the
yeah,
only difference about our relationship.
yep. And it's it's just I don't know what else to say other than I have really made some really great friends along the way, and I hope that other people find the same thing that I have found. Um, that's not to also say that there's also been drama. I mean, there's always, you put a bunch of people together and there's bound to be, disagreements, drama, whatever. And I've had my fair share, and we'll get into that in a little bit. I know y'all are like, let's go. Come on. What's the tea? Let's
Mhm.
go. But I will start by saying that the prison wife community has allowed me to be me, to not have to hide, to um be able to keep a long lasting relationship by giving advice, especially when I was a noob. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you did this, Paige, but like the first 2 years when Michael didn't call at a certain time, I would start panicking. Like I would panic.
I did that up
And
until he had a tablet.
okay.
For sure.
I mean, I still do a little bit, but for the most part now it's like, well, now I know, like, well, maybe the power's out or maybe the Wi-Fi is down or, like I kind of know the run of things of how things work when you can't call at a certain time at this point. But the 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 first 2 years were just like, oh my gosh, he's not calling at 6:30. Oh my gosh, something's wrong. And, or, especially because he was on 23-1. So he only had like 1 hour on the hall to call me. So if I missed a call, I would freak out. If he didn't call or if I missed a call, I would freak out. And I didn't know what to do. And I didn't know. So I was able to go and like talk to other women who have been in this, and they're like, listen, he will call you as soon as he can. Like, they gave me very sound advice when I was panicking, or if I had questions about visit, or, even now, if I have questions about visit or, what's going on with the prison, the facility, it's such a loving and welcoming community, to where we help each other out. We give and we help each other out. So I will say that this community, I'm proud to be a part of it, in the fact that even though I've seen negative things happen, but I've seen more good than negative.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know about your experiences, Paige.
I don't really have much prison wife, friendship experience. When I joined the groups on Facebook, at least in the beginning, I mostly stayed towards the ones that were specifically like either California prison related or specifically whatever prison Joe was at. And I would use those groups like you did, kind of like to be like, has anyone on like B yard gotten a call yet, or things like that, or when's the last time someone on this yard got a call? And that also helps because we're all on the same boat, because like, yeah, you can talk to other prison wives about it, but like unless they're literally at the same prison on that yard, it's really hard because everything is so different. And I made a lot of really cool great friends that way. One of my best friends that I still am best friends with today, we met on Twitter, through our husbands being incarcerated in California. I think it was like the third time I flew out there. Um, we hung out. She had came to visit me a few times, like lifelong friendships that I've made just from having Joseph be incarcerated, you know what I mean? And, you know, I haven't had those negative experiences, but I do know that they're out there. I've witnessed a few just by observing, especially on like Twitter and stuff. And I think
Yeah.
that's why I think I kind of get nervous sometimes about letting anyone too close. But um, I think one of the main reasons I created or wanted to create our group was like I wanted a space like that is what I always wanted before. Like when I started this journey, I was like, I wish I could find a space where it's, you know, no drama, but like supportive, positive, you know, everyone wants to help each other. We all have the same end goal and, you know, in mind. And I think that we've been able to do that with our group. And I
Yeah.
thankfully do not have it. I don't have any tea. I'm sorry for everyone, but I have had mostly good experiences, you know, with that.
Yeah.
I've met a few people that I'd rather wish I didn't, but
Yeah.
that happens.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, it's going to happen whether you're in a prison wife community or
Yeah.
you're going to the grocery store or going to a party,
There's
you
some
know?
people
So
that just want to be miserable and they're not going to be happy until you are too. And that's
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah, you have good and bad everywhere, obviously. So, but I think also it's great that, you know, we establish friendships with people. I know I have friends that had a loved one inside and they got out, and I'm still friends with them, and they're still active in the community as well. And I also have friends that decided that their relationship did not work out, and I'm still friends with them. And you know, some of them have other family members incarcerated, so they're still part of the community. So it is, I will say, it's a great way to find people that can support you when you don't have support, you know, from family friends out here near
It's
you.
amazing when people
Um,
support you that know what you're going through. Because, you know, your
yeah.
friends can be there and they can genuinely mean it and try their hardest to be there. But being able to vent to someone who has either gone through what you're going through or actually understands it a little bit more is so, at least for me, makes me feel better.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's like people can. It's important that people do empathize with you, people that aren't in this situation, but you know, to get really good sound advice, I think it's important to have that little group that you have within the prison wife
Mm-hmm.
community to be able to get those answers and vent and really just truly understand, like you said, what people are going
Mm-hmm.
through. All right, well, that's the good stuff. There's also not so great stuff. Obviously, like we said, um, there are people that are good people out there, and there are people that are not so good people out there, whether prison wife or not. But in the prison wife community, there's a lot of. I'm gonna try and I want to handle this the most delicate way that I can. There, like you said, there are people that are miserable. There are people that do like confrontation. I am not one of them. I know you probably aren't either,
Prefer not
Paige.
to.
Yeah. I mean, I will listen. I'm a mama bear. I will, if someone, you know, goes after my friends or my loved ones
Joseph,
or so, yeah, or Michael, I will. I'm very defensive of Michael. I'm very defensive of my good friends, the people that I stand by, that stand by me. But I typically just don't. I don't like the stuff like when people start stuff on Facebook. You know, in the groups. I will say, I think I brought this up one time on a previous pod that I was bullied in one group, and the admin actually reached out to me and told me that, you know, apologized basically for what happened, and the person was removed because I said that I was with somebody that was on death row. I got a lot of hate for that. People attacked me and said, you know, I said, well, I'm an independent woman, like, you know, he can't
wasn't
work,
anyone's
and
fucking business.
well, it was brought up in a thread in a
Yeah, but
post.
like,
Like what's
what?
but I mean it is what it is. You
Yeah,
know, I don't want to get you
I know.
riled up, Paige. Paige is getting riled up here.
I'm like, I don't like
I love you for
confrontation.
that though. I do love you for that. I mean, I handle myself. I try to handle myself, pretty good. I don't believe in attacking people and cutting people down. I don't think that achieves anything. But just being attacked by other prison wives for being with someone on death row or having a long-term sentence or not having an out date. Being an independent woman out here trying to work and support my house, me and my dog here, and also support my husband. I got flack for that. He should be sending you money home. I'm like, well, he's on death row. He can't work. They
You
don't get a
send me money.
job.
Why do you care? When did I
I know.
hire you as my personal advocate?
Like, yeah, or why are you throwing your life away? That was another one that I got. Like, why are you throwing your
Who said
life
that's throwing
away?
it away by any means? I was throwing my life away when I wasted it with someone who treated me like shit, not when I was with someone who's incarcerated.
Yes,
Like,
ma'am.
what?
I wasted 17 years of my life.
Yes.
So now I actually have a decent relationship. I'm not decent. I say a
Yes.
healthy
Much
relationship.
the opposite.
And yeah. So I think there, like, people can jump on you, especially if you have a long sentence. Especially, some sentences get a lot of flack. I know when we say like SO, SO people get a lot of flack within the prison wife community as well. Yeah. And the prison wives get flack for supporting their loved ones if they have some type of SO status or some type of SO crime.
Met anyone myself yet.
And
I haven't personally met anyone myself yet. I know that they're out there though.
Yeah. I will say this. We have some in our group. We have some in our group that have a SO type crime. When we say SO, we mean sex offender crime. Just for those that don't know what SO means. So, there are a lot of prejudices within the prison wife community, whether you're a lifer wife, you have a SO type charge. And I will say there are people, I'm trying to say this so delicately right now. There are people who just want drama. They just love to
they
confront,
want that reaction.
They
want you. They want to set you off.
Yeah. And I will say I've actually met and some of former best friends of mine are in that category. I mean, I'm I don't know what else is how to say it. I was friends with several women. I opened my doors, my house to them, brought them to visit, picked them up from the airport, brought them to Angola. And like that, they turned on me and accused me of the most outrageous things. I was accused of writing all of these guys in a different camp that I've never talked to ever.
Who? Like, who's that? How did they say that? Like, if
it's a little group of them. It's a little group of them. And these women were out to get me. I don't know why. I never did anything to them. They even got Michael in trouble, and that's when I put my foot down. Michael got in trouble, and him and another incarcerated individual almost got into an altercation. So that's when I said I can't do this anymore. And then that's when the aftermath blew up, where they made up these stories about me to make me look like a villain, and said that I was paying their men and other men and causing problems for them. And I'm like, boo, I don't know. I don't have time. I don't have money.
I would literally be like, okay, babe, show me the receipts.
Yeah. And one of them asked me to email her guy one time because he was over her shit, basically, and try to save their relationship, which I did. And I even said, like, I don't normally do this. Like, I'm not comfortable doing this. And immediately after I sent it, I deleted him off my account, my JPay account. So, if that's what they're talking about, well, I did it for you. I emailed him for you one time. I would just caution people to not be involved in other people's relationships. I did it one time and that ended up turning back on me for some reason. I don't know why. I think when you have a group of women and one of them is ostracized or decides to leave or stand up for herself, The others kind of pounce and find all the wrong things or make up stuff to make it seem like it's a lot
Yeah.
worse. I because I really did care about these women. They were like
I
my
mean,
best friends. We
you wouldn't
talked
just
every
pick
day.
any random person up from the airport and let them like stay in your house.
I mean, yeah, and they stayed at my house more than a few times. I mean, this was multiple
That's like
times.
a real, that's like a solid friend. Like,
And I invited some of them to Thanksgiving with me and my family. Yeah. So I mean, it hurts my heart to talk about this, but I think it's important. It's a lesson learned. I think you shouldn't get involved with other people's
I agree.
relationships.
I
That's a big
agree.
one. And it's hard to, because you're conversing and you're finding common ground between your relationships. This is what brings you together. But I it was just a lot, and they even went so far as to call my job and tell them I was with somebody on death row. So now my bosses know at this point. They found me on LinkedIn and put my LinkedIn profile on a group that holds about 31,000 people, asking, listing all, my name and everything, all my information, like, and I I don't know what I did to deserve that. Um, I had to immediately not call, but message the admin and tell them, like, please take this down. Like, this is, I don't know why they're finding I had to take down my LinkedIn
I'd be
page.
calling my lawyer.
Um,
Hello? What the fuck? Like, what the fuck?
yeah. I mean, they went, I don't know what happened, because one day I was fine. The next day they're like, why are you writing so and so? And I'm like, I'm not writing so and so. And I even had proof. I showed them my JPay account and showed them the only person's name that's on there is Michael Taylor. So, I would just be careful about giving your your loved one's DOC
Don't
number
do that.
out.
There's
Um,
literally no
yeah,
reason to do it. So just don't. That would be
yeah.
the general rule, I would say.
And some of them actually wrote Michael and, conversed back and forth. And I'm fine with that. If you want to email him, that's fine. But I would be careful with that too, because I've had a woman come up to me and tell me on Instagram how, people were talking to her loved one. And she was like, I feel so betrayed. I feel like, he's telling me they're messaging me and they're telling me all this crazy stuff about you. So I just,
People are going
I
to
would
do
just
that, which is
be
crazy.
careful.
That's one thing I had a prison wife warn me about when I joined Twitter. Not Twitter, I'm sorry, TikTok. She said,
Mhm.
if you like a bunch of people start to follow you, as many as will be following you, there a good chunk of them will be people that just are hate watching, and you need to be careful with them because there's people like that who will literally just wait for you to do something wrong or seem like it and then send it to your loved one and like or like send it to someone and try to start something and I'm like what like my brain is I'm like on TikTok I'm like what I thought this was like a dancing app you know what I mean like what is
Yeah.
this and
There are people that just look to stir up stuff. Like they want to be the shit stirrers.
that
They really
like
do.
to even think of doing that to someone that I don't favor is exhausting. Like I can't imagine. Like
Yeah.
I feel bad for people like that because like there's honestly like I obviously you're unhappy, but there's something else going on, and because no one does like that's not good.
Like, who has time and energy to do
No.
all
Would you
that?
want
I
someone to do
mean,
that to your
this
relationship?
life, yeah, this life is hard as it is. We
We
don't
go through it
need
from
more
everyone. We
negativity.
literally get it from
Yeah.
everyone. Like you said, like my only space is talking to like you girls and stuff. I don't have like I have friends, yes, but like I I don't see
Mhm.
them as often and I like having my group that I feel safe with that I can talk to about these
Yeah.
things and I just hope everyone has that. And if you don't join our Facebook group because
Absolutely.
that's why I made it for people that don't have that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it really is. I mean, we've gotten so many compliments on how positive and supportive it really is. So It's a safe space. It's a great, we take pride in keeping it protected for our prison wives. And so if you need a place, Love Within Walls is your place. If, come join us. I also want to bring up the fact that, you know, there are prison wives who also take advantage of others. I've also been there where you, you offer to bring them, give them a ride to visit, or, you offer them, some money to help them out because there's something. I would just be careful, because at some point, when they realize, it's almost like prison code. Once they realize that they can take advantage of you, they're going to keep coming. So it's also very important to know, like, if people are coming and asking you for money, just say no. I've had that happen. Like, I can't get my prescription. Can you help me out? I need gas money. Can you help me out? Like, those women, they're almost, it's almost like a scam. I feel like sometimes. I'm not saying
Yeah.
all of them are ungenuine. I'm just saying that most of the time it's a scam. Please don't feel like you need obligated to do that, because once you do that, it labels you as someone they can always hit up, and I've had that happen. I've also had it happen where I became the person that everybody relied upon to get food when I go to visit for other people.
We do
And
things
I
like
even had
that
one
in
prison wife.
California. Like, you could never
Huh?
even do something like that.
Oh, see, I can do that. Where I can order, food for, if they're in the same camp, or, in the same area, like on death row. I had another death row wife, tell me, well, when you go, you have to tell me you're going to visit every time you go to visit, because I need to get my husband something. Like, no, I am not. We're friends, so you're obligated to tell me when you go to visit. Like, that's the fight I got
You're not,
into with
you're not
somebody.
even
I'm like,
allowed to like hand
first,
other families things. Like, so like you can't like not in, at least the prisons I've been visiting at.
well, Well, what they would do is send me money, PayPal, whatever method, and then they'd say, can you get him a pizza, or can you get him a burger, or can you get him some chicken or something.
While they're visiting.
So that no, 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 no. They were not in Louisiana. But I was told that I had to check in with them and tell them every time I was going to visit, because I was responsible for making sure that she knew that I was going to visit, so she could give me money so I could buy
But how
her
can you
guy
buy him
something.
stuff if he's not out at visiting?
Because they can do what they call PM orders, where they order and it comes later, like after the
Oh, so they
visitors
can do
leave.
that even if they don't have it. That's cool.
Well, you can't do it unless you're there to order the PM order. Like, you can't call and order it. Like,
Oh,
you have to
okay.
be in person to
Okay.
order a PM order. Or, the incarcerated individual can order from the deli
Mhm.
whenever they want. They don't have to do it. They can do it on
You
certain
have
days.
delis,
Certain
so I'm
delis
just
run
like,
throughout the week.
wow. I'm like, okay, wow.
Yeah. It's different. It's very different from other facilities, but, just being told that because we're friends, I have to do this, like, no. Because, your guy and my guy are in the same place, you have to take me to visit.
Yeah,
No.
you don't want to do that
Know
because
your
in
boundaries.
California, your car gets checked. When you most prisons, not at some CMC, you don't your car doesn't get checked. It's weird. Your car
Mhm.
gets checked as you're going in, and sometimes when you leave. And if you're bringing a random person that you don't know, how do you know if they're not bringing drugs into the prison? Drugs are then in your car, and by law, you're gonna get your visits taken, and you might get arrested. And that's because it's
Yeah,
in
and
your
if it's in
car.
your car,
And yes,
you're
it's the same
liable.
thing as if you brought them, and all they look at it is if you knew and you were in on it, and it's just because you were trying to be nice and giving someone a ride, and like not trying to deter anyone from doing that, just saying like make sure you think these things
You have to be
through,
careful.
because not saying that all prison wives are like that, but I mean it's out there. You know, yes, mostly the drugs are brought in by COs. Let's be real, or free staff or other people,
Mhm.
but it does happen sometimes with loved ones, and you don't ever want to Like, imagine losing visits over that. Like, oh my God. That
Yeah.
would be traumatic. Mhm.
Detrimental. Yeah. So I I would just caution you, like, when you befriend somebody, if they start asking you for stuff or requiring you to do stuff for them, that's a toxic relationship that should not be happening. So I always say keep your circle, like your inner circle, your tight inner it's okay to be friends, like we have a lot of friends, in the community, but your tight circle, you want to keep that small, just because you sometimes, you don't know when you're meeting these people in Facebook groups or just meeting them on Facebook. A lot of the times you meet other prison wives on Facebook, you don't
Mhm.
really know them. You don't really know all there is about them. I mean, obviously, you can build relationships with people and obviously you can have that rapport, but for the most part, you need to go in
You could be talking to
cautiously. I
anyone.
hate
I
saying
mean, we
that,
have
but
fake profiles made all the time. Literally someone did it to me. There's a fake TikTok of me now. So don't get at
oh, yeah.
NLWAP6. Even though the best part about all of that is that this person, although they were trying to scam people, horrible. There's now another account that's named NLWAP. So it's funny. It's like
Dang.
I'm like, that's right. Thank you. NLWAP.
Hey, imitation is the highest form of flattery,
They
Paige.
just wanted to scam people.
My Yeah, I know. I've gotten those too on Instagram where they're like, "Hey, so and so." I think even one of my friends, they were
Yep.
using her husband on an account, and so I told her, and it was basically they're basically trying to get
Which
money
is
out of people. They're
scary. I
scamming
literally just
people.
saw that
So,
happen to one of my friends. They made an account of her husband, and she was like, "I'm extra worried
mhm,
about this because someone might see this and think he has a cell phone." And I was like, "Wow,
yeah,
I didn't even think of that. Like, people need to
that's
stop.
true.
Like, that's crazy."
Yeah. So I would just say be cautious of who you really let into your inner circle because you don't know what people are capable of. And, it's just like anything, any person you meet on the street, whatever. I mean, you just don't know what they're going to do. I know people who have had people write their loved ones behind their
Mhm.
backs. I've seen that happen a lot, a lot. Talking bad about the person's spouse or girlfriend, um, and I don't know, just be
Yeah.
careful, guys. I can't stress that enough because yikes, it can be bad. And I know that there are even, I mean, the drama gets so bad, it gets so like it just snowballs to the point where people are now making
Mhm.
hate pages where they're hating on just one particular person, and then they use people to get information on that person and then they
Mhm.
go post it. Like, it just goes back to who has time and energy to do all that? Not me. I don't
Mhm.
have time and energy. And I don't know. I just it boggles my mind. The wonderful it's so wonderful to have a community like this, but it also boggles my mind the negative points of what people are willing to do to, bring you down or try and hurt your relationship. Um Also the everything in between, you got to be careful too of people who are just overtly
Oh my god,
curious of your relationship.
I can't with those people.
There's a couple people that I'm Facebook friends with, and I'm almost always debating why haven't I
Mhm.
blocked this person? Because all they want to know is, when is Michael getting executed? When did he get a date yet? Like,
What
how are
the
y'all
fuck?
handling that? Like, I don't know these people, and they just come out of the woodwork and ask me about
Me.
my husband's sentence.
I don't even know what to say.
And they're
And
they're
like,
also
I'd be like, "Excuse me?" I'd be like,
yeah,
what are you talking about?" Like, that's so rude.
yeah. It's like they're into the death row, you know, whatever like the true crime death row thing. They're into, like,
He's
it's
a
like this
person.
obsession.
He's a fucking human.
Yeah.
Like,
And the
oh
thing is, these women are prison wives, so they should get
my
this, right? They should understand that this is our life,
This isn't like a show. This isn't like, a news story. Like,
mm-mm.
this is your husband.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you get people who are just overtly curious of
Or
your
nosy.
relationship and will, especially if it's if you also have a high profile, case or loved one who has a
Yeah.
high profile case, um, they can get really, really, really like creepy curious, like not even just curious, but like creepily curious, like,
I had
okay,
a girl one
and
time,
so, um,
that who had followed me for a really long time. She told me, and I didn't know that. Um, but I had followed her back and we had started talking. And she was sending me a voice message, and I was telling her something about Joseph. That just, it's not like a secret or anything, but it wasn't like anything that I'd ever posted publicly on Instagram. And she was like, "Girl, can I tell you something?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And she was like, "I already knew that." And she was like, one time, I posted a picture of him, and I guess it's a picture of him from when he was in court. It's like from when all the court proceedings and stuff happened. And I even thought that someone might do that. So my sneaky ass even flipped it. So I was like thinking, if someone thought to do that, that it wouldn't like trigger them to creep his story.
mhm.
But she did it. And she told me, she goes, I reverse image searched it when you had posted that, and I found his name, and I read about him, and I was like, some
Yeah.
girl that I didn't
That's the
even
thing
know
though. All that
did
stuff is
all of that.
public. Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
Reverse image
Yeah.
searched.
And it's not
Dang.
up anymore, the picture. But it's just like, that was a weird moment, because like, I don't know about you, but in my head sometimes I create fake scenarios, like what if someone is doing that, and all those things, and then to
Mhm.
have it happen, I'm like, please don't confirm any of these delusions in my head and make this real. But there are really people like that.
Yeah.
And she was nice. She was a
Oh
really
yeah.
sweet girl too. She really wasn't, she didn't mean any harm by what she had done. But there could be people that do. So that's why I'm just saying, like, be cautious even about the things you post. If you're not even, like, I didn't even tell that girl anything. And
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I will say this, like sometimes they did those man crush Mondays in the prison wife groups where you post your loved one or post your who's your man crush, and obviously it's going to be Michael. So I posted a picture of him, and I got a comment underneath saying, "Well, if that was it was something like, I'm trying to remember exactly how it was said. Something like, well, if that's him, I would let him carjack me too, because part of his crime was considered a carjacking at some point. So they were
yeah,
like, they
that
knew his crime, they knew his crime, and they commented on him being obviously attractive, right? Saying like, well, if
which
that's who's going to carjack me, I
okay,
would let him carjack me any day of the week,
step back,
something like that. Ma'am,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Rethink what you just said.
Yeah. So, just be careful. Even posting pictures in those support groups, I mean, sometimes you never know. Especially when they're like, when you have thousands and thousands and thousands of people in these groups, you just got to be careful, because I've also had someone fake message me telling me, "Oh, I'm talking
Are
to
you
your
kidding me?
man." And I'm like, "Ma'am, what?" And so, I said, well, okay. So I told Michael, I said, this girl, I think her name was like, I'm not going to say her name, but it started with the D. And she was like, I said, so and so said that she's writing you and you've been emailing her. Is this true? Because the first thing I'm going to do
Yeah,
is go straight to Michael and
immediately.
get it out of him, And he said, absolutely not. I said, well, are you sure? And this was kind of early on in our relationship, maybe like year two. And so I said, well, okay. He said, well, ask her for
Period.
proof. And so I said, well, okay. If you're talking to him, please show me proof that you're, because that's one thing that a lot of these groups require is
My
proof. You
crazy
got to have
ass, the
proof
first
that
thing I would
this
have
is
said, show me to her. I would have ran to him, of course,
Yeah.
but I would have been like, show me.
Yeah. So I asked her for proof and she sent me, it was so fucked up what she did. She basically took an email, a JPay email, and took just a snippet of it. Like
Yeah.
not the whole, like when you screenshot, you get the whole thing, the name, the date, the timestamp, everything. She basically screenshotted to where I couldn't see who it was from, who it was going to. All I could see was just a little snippet of the email. And as soon as I started reading it, I'm like, this is not Michael. Like, I know the way Michael writes. First of all, Michael does not misspell words. So looking at,
Yeah,
is he
I'm gonna
calling?
have him say hi.
Okay, go ahead.
You have a prepaid call for
An incarcerated individual. An incarcerated individual.
So let me just finish. I'll finish the story while you're getting set up. So she just sent me the little snippet of the email, and I knew just based off the wording that it wasn't Michael's. So, I basically called her out on, I said, first of all, that's not my husband. So if you must got me confused with somebody else. So that just be careful, y'all, because what you put out there can be used against you, and people are not always the kindest. So, hey, Joe.
Can you hear her?
How you doing, buddy? Good to talk to you.
Yeah, good to talk to you too. It's the reception's kind of breaking up a little bit. I heard most of what you just said, but yeah, the reception's been kind of bad with this new provider that they have with the tablets and stuff. But yeah, how are you both doing?
We're doing great. We're rocking out a pod right now.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I just got back from work right now, and it's it's kind of cold outside.
It's raining here.
Yeah.
It's hot here. Yay.
A little bit of everything. Okay, say hi to everyone, Joseph.
Hi, everyone, to all the listeners. Thanks for listening, and I appreciate your support of Paige and Gigi.
Love you, honey.
We love you, Joe.
Take care, Gigi. Good to hear from you, and I love you too, babe. And I'll message you, and I'll call you later. Okay?
Okay, I love you.
Love you, Joe.
All right, take care, Gigi. Good to talk to you. All right.
Yes.
You too. Bye.
Oh my God, not his first feature on the pod.
He's Joe's first feature on the pod. He does have to call in.
Anyways, I want to hear about
him. If I get a message, I'll definitely have him at some point. One of these pods he'll be on. Yeah, like you're happy now.
Like, you don't waste your life.
Who cares
I'm like,
in the world.
Yep. I sure do.
Well, I mean, I guess that really covers the negative aspects of being part of the prison wife community. When you have a bunch of people together, obviously it's not always going to go hunky dory or, be copacetic. So, but also you just want to be careful of what you say and what you put out there, especially about your loved one, because people can be curious, people can be creepy, people can be backstabbing, people can be, yeah. So, and I will say this, I've learned my lessons from these negative interactions. And, I have, like I said, I have my small circle, but now, when people say, oh, cause I'm the one, I'm one of the few women that go every month to go visit death row. I mean, like I said, a lot of people don't go visit death row. So I know a lot of the guys, and all the guys are like, come on, Gigi, hook me up. Or, hey, I got a girl. You want to, can you bring her to visit? And I'm like, absolutely not. Me and Mike already put that in.
His friends up with a few people. And
yeah, I've tried, and I'm just like, at this point, I said, Mike, I'm not bringing anybody to visit anymore. I'm not hosting anybody anymore. So my doors are closed.
Airbnb
Lesson
is closed.
learned. Like you almost got in trouble with another incarcerated individual there. Like
Mm.
it's not worth it to me. It's not worth it. I
Yeah.
shut my doors completely. So just be careful. Just really be careful of who you open your house, your life to. Because yeah, people will use and abuse you
I would
like
just say
nobody else.
some
So
use caution when talking with people outside of this community about their loved ones. I would say practice still that caution with people inside, and just don't don't expect
yeah,
everyone to be you, because if that's something I've learned in this world and
yeah,
in this journey, it's that everyone isn't me. Like, so,
yeah. That's true. You can be it's great to be giving. I don't want to discourage people from being giving because some people are
love
givers. I'm a
giving.
giver. I
Mhm.
love helping people. Part of why I'm a teacher, I love helping people. I love helping kids. But I
Old
clearly have
haters.
learned my lesson that sadly the hard way that
Mhm.
not everybody's like me and people will definitely take advantage of your kindness. And, I always say, shame on, first time you do something wrong to me, shame on me. Um, or shame on you. Second time, shame on me. And third time, there won't be a third time. So I've definitely learned my lesson with that. Not going to happen. Once they do something wrong to me, I usually bounce. I'm out
Yeah.
and I shut my door completely. So yeah. So with that, Paige, is there anything else you want to add about the prison life
Um,
community?
no, I don't think so. I would just say, um, maybe if there's anything that we didn't touch on that you think are interesting topics that we should talk about, just, whatever. If you're
Mm-hmm.
watching this on YouTube, comment below. If you're watching this somewhere else, reach out to us on Instagram or TikTok or somewhere, because we definitely want to keep incorporating the things you guys want on here too. So not only are we going to bring like you guys on with your stories and your stories, but we also want to make sure that we're touching base on everything, because obviously there's many ins and outs of this world and it's impossible to cover them all.
Yeah. And we're going to try to do our darndest. But definitely hit us up if prisonwifepod@gmail.com or Instagram, or even comment if you're on Apple or Spotify, you can leave us a comment there. And then like Paige said on YouTube, you can always drop a comment there as well. All right. So I wanted to go ahead and do we did post some questions for, if you have any questions or comments about the pod this week. So I wanted to go ahead and start off. We did incorporate a new feature where you can leave us voice messages, but you can remain anonymous. In fact, we got an anonymous voice message, our first one, on a platform called SpeakPipe. If you go to our link tree, it is there, and you can just leave us a voice message if you don't want to type. So this is from one of our members of Love Within Walls who left us a SpeakPipe message. Here we go. Very short, very sweet. I love it.
Just want to say, y'all bomb as fuck. Love y'all. So excited for you.
I know that
Very
voice.
sweet. Love you too, honeys. Yeah. We know who that is already, but we love you so much. Thank you for that sweet, sweet comment. So, like I said, if you want to leave us a voice message, get on SpeakPipe, go to our link tree,
We're going to start
click the
playing those every
SpeakPipe
week.
link, and you
So
can leave
every
us a
time
message.
whatever's in there, we're going
Mm-hmm.
to play it. So please be nice.
And if you have questions, you can also ask questions there too. So, yeah. All right. So, going to the Instagrams, we had I don't know the name, but someone responded saying, "Just thank you for doing what you do." Again, another nice, wonderful compliment. And someone left a comment saying this from the post. My loved one recently got not so good news about his sentence. Basically, he is supposed to get out late 2024, but he received news that he may not get out until who knows when because of a technical difficulty with his citizenship. He has been a little off, and I try not to take it personal, but I have never been in this situation and am unsure how to handle when he goes through phases of withdrawal. Overall, I have been strong and not letting it show that it bothers me, but inside I'm dying when this happens. When they say it takes a strong woman, let me tell you, never had to be this strong in my life. God bless you, girls. Much love. And I actually had a conversation with this person on our Instagram, and she was saying that his sentence ends in the end of 2024, but because of the issue of his citizenship, he's going to be detained even longer after. He's going to get out and then go to another facility and continue to be detained until further notice, basically. um so, and I guess
Yeah,
he's having a hard time with it. He's having issues, and she's trying to navigate how to deal with him
that's
and how to
hard.
deal with all of this. So it's so hard. So you are definitely a strong woman, for putting up with this. And the fact that I think, if you have an out
That is
date, that's your out
amazing.
date.
He
Like,
should use that
he's a
as his motivator. Like, I know that's probably easier said than done, especially when you're in that situation, but like he knows
mhm.
like the light at the tunnel is there. You just have to keep moving towards it. It might be slowly, but on that note, be the best support system you can for him. Try to remind him of that. And, I don't know how rough it is, but also just, make sure you're taking care of yourself and make sure that he knows that, you're on his side and you're on his team and you're not against him. And he shouldn't maybe, I don't know if he's directing it at you, but, maybe just to, direct his anger somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like you're frustrated too. Like you want him home too. Like you don't want him there. You're not the one keeping him
Yeah.
there. Like it's like, you know, a waste of energy towards just problems.
And that seems to be an issue also across the country, where people have out dates, but the prison is holding them longer than their out dates. Especially in Louisiana, we have problems with that big time. In fact, there was a big lawsuit about that. So I don't know if there's something legally
Yeah.
that can be done, to justify, you know, the sentence being ending at
You said
some
it's an
point at the end of
immigration issue.
2024.
I have a friend.
Mm-hmm.
I have a good
Yeah,
friend who,
go ahead. I'm
and
sorry.
he listens to this, who is an immigration lawyer. So I think I can, not for California, but I can still just message him and pick his brain and see what he thinks. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, and she's in our inbox, so you
Okay.
can maybe reach out
I
to her
definitely will.
if you get any good information. Yeah. All right, the next question we have from the inbox: how has being a prison wife changed you? That's a great
I do too,
question.
and
I
I
love
have an
that
immediate
question.
answer, which I think is the biggest one. I think it's made
Hmm.
me come out of my shell in so many different ways, like in the prison wife world way, and also in like outside life. Like the amount of people that I've had to call and contact and have conversations with, like going into a prison is scary, and like doing it alone is scary, and like
Hmm.
getting all of your stuff checked in to sleep there and stay overnight, that's, it's all scary, and it's all things that I do and I don't even think about now. You know what I mean? It's just what it is. And like I think about myself even 5 years ago, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I don't think I could have done that, because I just know myself. And I think I kind of like have defied myself and evolved as a woman. I think Joe and I grew a lot together.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I think it's also, like you said, it's pushed me to get out of my comfort zone for sure. It's pushed me to have better communication, not just with Michael, but with others as well. Um, and it's made me it's made me a very, even though I still struggle with it, I've learned I have to be a patient
Hasn't taught me
person.
that yet.
I'm still not 100% there, believe me. But I have learned to be a lot more patient with things. Um, and it's taught me that the biggest thing I will also say is that it's taught me to not give in to worrying about things I cannot control.
I hope that hits me soon.
And I still,
I hope that lesson hits me in
say
the
that
face
again.
soon, because I still.
And I'll be honest, Paige, like I still struggle with that, but I've adapted and I've become a lot stronger. Things that used to really get me down do not get me down anymore. I try not to let it, at least. Now there's times, obviously, when it comes to Michael's, legal stuff and Michael's case, I do get very passionate about that. And it's hard for me to give up control in that area, because I know him, and I know what happened, and I know the outcome and how unfair it was. But for him, his sentencing was very unfair. So that gets me. But obviously, like at this point, our governor is doing all these crazy things. He's even trying to make clemency or pardons even harder to get at this point. So I learned, well, listen, is what's going to happen happens at this point. The best thing I can do is say, hey, in 4 years, go out and vote, guys, get this guy out of office. Right. But until then, we're stuck. Here we are, so I've learned that it's kind of just, we have to just roll with it. That's one thing I've learned. I have to just roll with stuff sometimes, even if I don't want to roll with it.
I think
I just have to.
I was going to add on to that. Sorry. That I think it's made me a nicer person. And by that, I don't mean that I was not nice. Having my son made me a lot of a nicer person. It changed me completely. And then meeting Joe and our relationship completely, like me, 6 years ago versus me now, is completely different. And I don't want to say I judged people or was rude, but I would be like, oh, well, that happened to them. So, if someone's in prison, but like not as much, because I still was an advocate, but I didn't try to understand anyone's story, because I was just like everyone else, you know what I mean? And I look at every situation like that now, not even just criminal justice related things, like people in all walks of life. I try to never judge them and try to always come to every situation with an open mind, just the same way that, I hope that they would do with me.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's learning, to really empathize with people and being in it yourself. You really do learn to empathize with other situations, not just prison stuff, but like, maybe homelessness or, other issues that are happening out here in the world that you feel a little bit more empathetic towards. I know that it's really taught me, a lot of people, they go, well, homeless people are just scammers, they're just trying to scam you out of money. And so I try to, do what I can't give everything, obviously, but I try to help where I can. And so it obviously helps me go, well, if that were me, if I was homeless, maybe this person really is homeless. You never know.
So guess what?
So
it's just assume it is what it is and keep moving. Why are we the judge? We're not.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So it's definitely made me a better person. I will say that I call my time before Michael my past life, because I wasn't able to be myself in my past life. I was always put down. I was always, told I was stupid. I couldn't really be me. I was always walking on eggshells. And now I can be me, and I can be myself with Michael. And so I'm proud of that. I'm proud of, the person I've become from my past life, my life before Michael. So yeah, it's definitely made me a better person for sure. For sure. All right. Our next question comes from Bree, I believe. She wants to know how to deal when they go through phases of hard. Oh, that was the other one. Sorry. Okay. This is a great question from Ice Skates. She wants to know how to prepare for your first video visit.
I remember my very first video visit. It literally was the day that I was going to a Dead and Company concert in Hershey. And I was so nervous because I knew that I had a video visit with Joe, because I finally got approved and the whole system for California was at that time was you had to like get approved to even have video visits. So like I submitted my app and it finally got approved, and I was finally able to schedule a visit, bought through the millions of people and got one. And I remember taking forever to get ready. And I remember, you know, kind of like how I do before we film on here, I'll like look at myself and mess with my hair and get upset and change my shirt and all those things. And it's never perfect. And then, you know, I'm always like, why do I look better in the mirror than I look on a camera or here? You know what I mean? And I was so nervous for all of it, but literally it's like, it was amazing. I went into it all nervous, and it's like, you don't even need to be, because it's, you already have that relationship and connection through the phone. And the video isn't there, but it's almost like it is, because you just get that close. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was the whole time, Joe and I, when we first video visited, we were just like grinning the whole time, like smiling like dummies. And then we couldn't stop like talking about it afterwards. And it, just try to remember to, you know, keep it cool, show up early. I don't know what state you're in. Some of the states aren't user friendly with their videos. Just make sure you're ready in advance. And some states also require ID, so I don't know, maybe make sure you have your ID by you.
Yeah, I would definitely make sure you know all the
That's a
rules
big
and
one.
everything.
You
You know, yeah. Our biggest one was our window opened 5 minutes before the video visit, and as soon as they got on within that 5-minute window before the time frame opened, that's when your time started. So if they were on and waiting for you to join, like you were losing minutes, you know? So it's important to make sure you're ready to go before the time slot that you have for your video visit is ready to go. Let me ask you this, Paige. So your first visit with Joe was a video visit, or was it an in-person visit? Okay. Okay. So yeah, for someone that's asking this question, obviously what Paige said, because when I did our video visits, I had already been visiting Michael for 4 years at that point. We didn't get video visits till COVID happened. So ours were just like a normal, you know, being able to visit while we couldn't visit. You know, video visits were our lifeline at that point, phone calls and video visits. So it wasn't a big nerve wracker to me. I will say that some video visits are, like Paige said, not user friendly, or the system goes down, or there's a haywire. You know, there's always issues and complications. So prepare for issues for sure. I think our first video visit, we lost about 4 minutes because the connection was unstable or something on his end. So just be ready for anything negative to happen. Know the rules. I know people tried to do things on video visit that were not allowed, and then they ended up getting banned from visitation in general.
Just don't show the goodies, guys. Listen, it's not worth it. It isn't, and you know it. And I'm talking especially to some of you California ladies. We get family visits, guys. It's not worth it. Do not. You don't need to. Just stop. Don't. How worth it is it to lose your visits over that? Just keep your shirt down. Keep your clothes on.
Yeah. Yeah. And to get on the no-fly list, basically, if you're, you know, in Louisiana, to get off the no-fly list is almost impossible. I mean, you really have to work hard. You really have to be at it all the time, and you really have to fight for it. And I know people that are still banned from COVID because they thought that they could get freaky and nobody was watching.
They watch all the video
people
visits.
Are
they
watching
do.
you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So just be careful, follow the rules. I would say it's like Paige said, it's not worth losing real visits over.
I've literally been, I've worn a tank top and been told to go change. I remember he told me to change, and I was like, I sat there for a minute, and I was like, I wore this last week. And he's like, you can't wear that. Because like a CO comes on the screen, and like,
and it's not the same CO every time either.
They're like in a room, and the COs like walk around and like stare at the computers, like, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they're behind them.
And then
they. Oh wow. Okay.
Then
see, ours watch it on the. I guess okay. And I will say this: one time for video visit, I decided, well, they're never going to kick because they'll kick you off if you have a, if you have a tank top on, because they follow the same rules as standard visitation.
Gotta
You
be
can't
the
have
ID
tank
card.
tops. You can't have sleeveless shirts. Wait, you have to. Oh, we didn't have to have that. But one time I said, well, I'm going to get these. I'm going to get these suckers. I dressed up as a
You
nun
did not.
and did a video visit as a nun.
I'm sorry, that's hilarious.
I did. I legit
What did they
did.
do?
Nothing. I had the habit and everything.
They not on the tablets, but on the old
Michael's
system, they have to check us in. So like when they would come on and they'd be like, "Can you show me your ID?" and like you'd have to like show it to them, and then they'd be like, "Okay," and then they'd go away. So like they would have to come on and be like, "Give me your ID" to you with that. So like I'm like, that's hilarious.
I know when Michael, because I was on first and then Michael popped on when he saw me in my habit. He was like, because I had a Halloween costume. I was a nun one year, and he saw it and he's like, he flipped out. He was laughing and he was just shocked. It was the best reaction. So if you can dress up as a nun, I suggest you do, because it's meeting all the clothing requirements, and it'll freak your loved one out. Well, that's all I have.
I have something to throw in that just came in hot off the press. So Josie.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Paige.
Was just messaging me after we got off the phone a little bit ago, and he was like, I'm sharing this, and obviously to follow up anyone who listened last week, I mentioned about the OD questions that I had. Just to update everyone on my story, I was given a different email to send that question to, which was directly to CDCR. So I said, okay, and I sent it to them. And I still haven't gotten a reply back. It's been a week now. I'm not sure how long they have. No one has answered me as to if this list exists, and if it exists, if we just don't get access to it. Like, no one has told me. So I don't know if anyone is keeping track of all the ODs that happen in different prisons. So, I'm not going to say Joe's prison, but he messaged me and he said, I almost started talking about our OD crisis here. There's been 4 on our yard today, and another death.
Just today.
I go, what? Dang. He goes, yeah, I almost just brought that up, but I didn't. It's been insane. So, like, I have so many questions for all of these people that are supposed to be, like, doing oversight for these California prisons. How are there 4 people? Yeah. And it's 1 p.m. there. It's 1 p.m. in California, and 4 people inside a prison have overdosed. Does anyone care? And I promise they won't even like write a story or do anything about it. It's just this is the shit that's frustrating to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And like they'll post in Louisiana, they had a altercation at Angola and an inmate passed away. And they put it in the news, but other than that, it just says an investigation is happening. They don't tell you, anything, or, I'm sure that I would hope they notify the family, obviously, but I mean, it's sad, especially talking about ODs. I mean, there's just so many, and 4 in one day.
Yard.
Why is this not being why is this not being a more pressing issue? Because somehow, some way, stuff is getting in, and it's
almost
killing them or harming them really, really terribly.
Sorry to kill the vibes, but he just said that to me, and I was like, I'm saying that.
No, it's real time, real life. It's happening, All right, so I guess that's all I have. Note? Wait, what? Oh, you want to give a shout out? Yes, it's time for shout out. Go ahead, Paige. Who we shouting out?
I want to give a shout out to my girl Taylor. Taylor runs Dedicated to the Incarcerated. If anyone has seen her on TikTok or Instagram, I think she might have a Facebook page too. But it's D2TI. I believe that's literally her @ on all of them. She is amazing. She's awesome. She is very close to me in the LWAP sense. She has created this page on Instagram where girls all across California can send her any kind of question they have, and she posts it. And she has a bunch of followers, so people get answers to their questions, like specific, odd, sometimes off the wall. Some of them are out there. Some of them are really interesting, and it's like we all learn too along the way too, because we're reading them and seeing them. And she just is a really good resource, and she does that, and she also makes like the best funny dancing TikToks. And I love her personality. She's a great girl, and I'm really glad I met her. So shout out to you, Taylor.
Yeah, shout out Taylor. And what is her username again on TikTok?
Dedicated to the incarcerated.
Okay.
Think of it like that.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this pod talking about prison wife community, the good, the bad, and everything in between. And it's time to end our pod. Sad to say we're going, but what do we always end with, Paige? What's that meme? Our meme of the week, guys. And just for this topic, I'm going to give shout clout to the Prison Wife Hangout for making this meme. And it says, when another prison wife, close your eyes if you're listening. There's a guy and he's like this. He's got his two fingers up and he's like about to say something. You know, he's going to say something good, but it's short and sweet. And it says, when another prison wife gives you relationship advice you didn't ask for. And the guy is saying, do you? So here it is, friends.
Do you?
Sorry if it's... Ooh. Do you, y'all. Just do you. Don't worry about getting advice from people if you don't ask for it, because prison wives will give you advice even if you don't want it. But just do you. Do you. Do you, boo. That's going to be my new... Oh, that's a good mantra to have.
This year.
Do you, boo. You do you.
Yeah.
2024. Do you. Well, guys, if you need to reach us, please, like I said, reach us at our email, prisonwifepod@gmail.com, our Instagram, a Prison Wife Podcast, our TikTok, a Prison Wife Podcast, Love Within Walls on Facebook. Just hit up our link tree if you want to hit us a message, a voice message on SpeakPipe. We'd love to hear your lovely voices. And we will be back next week, guys. Thank you for listening to episode 7 of Love Within Walls, a Prison Wife Podcast. We will see y'all next week. And hopefully you guys are enjoying Life for Wife Week this week. So if you haven't joined, come join us and
we're having girls' night.
Come see all of our beautiful Life for Wives.
So
yes, Girls' Night In on Friday, April 12th from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 to 9 Central. And as you go down the other time ranges. But be there, join us. Great way to connect, meet some cool people. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Besitos. Bye.